Ms. Shomo, you confess you had a weekend fling with a coworker while married to the defendant, Mr. Cleckler. Now, because you admit to being intimate with both men during the same 2-day period, you now say you have no idea who fathered your 11-month-old son, Theseus.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Cleckler, you argue Ms. Shomo has already done this once before. And while you have doubts, you're hoping this baby is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Freeman, you admit you are that co-worker and you're the second possible biological father. You state that if it's determined you are indeed the child's biological father, you want full custody.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Shomo, what made you stray from your marriage and possibly conceive 2 children outside of your relationship?
Your Honor, I was young. I was going through some difficulty, feeling unwanted by my husband, Mr. Cleckler, and I felt Mr. Freeman was giving me more attention than my husband was. I mean, we've been together for 10 years. His friends was more important at the time, and he just wanted to run around and not be a family man.
My friends always said I was with you. If we went somewhere with my friends, you was there.
That wasn't true. He had left me and the kids in the house, Your Honor, and went outside with his friends and just left us. At times I wanted to watch movies and spend time with him and go to the park. He didn't want to do that. He just wasn't showing me no affection. So yes, I felt like there was something more out there.
Mr. Cleckler, did you know about your wife's affair?
No, Your Honor, I did not know about the affair.
Nothing about it?
No, Your Honor. She was out late at night, 12, 1 o'clock with the kids. We already got 3 previous children, Your Honor. And I told her she'd been doing this, like I said, for a while. I'm not gonna put up with it, so I packed my stuff and I left. And then later we got to talking on the phone and reconciled and
so
working it out.
You were having troubles, you kind of broke up for a minute, took a break, and got back together.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you had no idea?
No, Your Honor, she told me she was being completely faithful.
Your Honor, at that time, he also was seeing somebody as I was.
Your Honor.
I want to talk about the time of conception. How did Mr. Freeman get in the picture?
Well, me and him were friends, Your Honor. You know, he just showed me more affection than my husband did, and it led to something else.
Mr. Freeman, when you met Ms. Shomo, you knew she was a married woman?
Yes, Your Honor. And, you know, she was saying that he was cheating, you know what I'm saying, talking to other females or whatever. So, you know, so we started conversating and talking, and it went from there.
Your Honor.
And so when she got pregnant, did she tell you?
A couple of months in pregnancy.
Okay. When did you find out, Mr. Cleckler?
A couple months into the pregnancy as well.
Did she tell you that there was another possible father?
No, Your Honor.
So after you told him, did you immediately tell him?
No, I completely shut him out of my life.
Yes.
I did. I was trying to do the right thing because, like I said, I'm young and I wasn't happy.
Your Honor, you can't use young as an excuse for everything. We're the same age. I don't have any other children by anybody else. You know, I'm not making the same mistakes. I do admit that I did do my dirt in the first couple years of our relationship and after our first child, but I gave her ample time to do the same thing that I did, Your Honor. Most men wouldn't do that, but she took it beyond. I never brought a child into the relationship.
And
she didn't even respect our marriage, Your Honor. We are legally married. She didn't even respect it.
And what's that, a copy of
our marriage license?
Jerome, let me see that.
Luckily, he did not have children with somebody else.
We was together from high school. 3 months after we started dating, she had gotten pregnant. We had a daughter. Like I said, I was doing my dirt. She decided she didn't want to be with me anymore. She started seeing somebody else. That was a reality check for me, Your Honor. It let me know that, hey, I lost something. I really want this person back.
Your Honor, this would have never came down to this if he didn't cheat on me with his best friend's aunt.
Really?
It completely ruined my life on till this day.
I said I did my dirt.
It's because of him is why we are in this position now. And did I meant to do this to him? No, I did not. Did I want to be with him through the 10 years? No, I did not. It was the fact for my girls, I am with him. But
it really seems like this is hurting you as you're speaking. Where's the pain coming from?
I was in love, and he cheated on me. I mean, all my love was to him. I didn't want nobody but him. But when he cheated on me with his best friend's aunt, that broke me, because I didn't do nothing. All I did was stay home and take care of him. All he wanted in the beginning was his friends.
Your Honor,
So I grew separable. Yes, I didn't. Who doesn't make mistakes? I made a mistake.
So basically, you cheated out of hurt and revenge.
I was moving on. And when I married him, he was the only man I wanted to marry in this lifetime.
So you were pregnant.
Yes.
And you believed your husband was a father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when the baby was born, were you just a happy family?
I was, because I thought God finally blessed me with a child who looked like me. My girls look completely like him, but my boys look just like me. So yes, I was blessed to have a son who looked like me. And with with Mr. Cleckler, I really thought he was his.
You really believed it?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So, Ms. Shomo, in the first stages of your son's life, his beautiful brown skin and hair, and I can see that when you had him, you said, he looks like me.
Yes.
Native American. I can
Yes, Your
see
Honor.
this in him.
Yes.
And then as he got older, you just didn't see Mr. Cleckler in him.
Right.
One thing I read is that in the court papers you said that Mr. Freeman and you used protection when you all were together.
Yes.
You did.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
And yet, was it even more surprising to you when you started to see or feel like he was looking like Mr. Freeman because you all used protection?
Yes, Your Honor. But within that, Mr. Freeman wanted a baby with me, and he had told me that he had wanted a baby
It wasn't like that.
He said he was going to get me pregnant one way or another.
Not like that. No, Your Honor. It
So, yes,
wasn't nothing
we
like
did
that. I
use
said
a
I would love
condom.
to have a baby by you, which she was married at the time. I wasn't just gonna ditch a baby off in her like that. The condom bust, you know. Hey, I
He
can't do nothing about it, you know.
smirked about it after
I ain't
it,
smirked.
but-
So are you suggesting that
Look
he
at my face.
planned that?
No.
Yes, Your Honor, I kind of do. Because I told him
I
repeatedly I did not want a child. I was not ready.
No, I ain't playing that.
When the baby was born, did you think anything more about Mr. Freeman?
Not until Theseus was getting a little older. I seen difference in him. And I wanted to tell Mr. Freeman because there's a possibility that it is his son, and I don't want to take no life from him with his son.
So once Theseus got older, you began to see what his features change,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you began to think he could be Mr. Freeman's child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, was Mr. Cleckler noticing those changes as well?
Yes.
And it was a source of discontentment in your home?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was seeing me and Mr. Cleckler separating a little bit. We wasn't so close because he would come to me and be like, you know, he's getting darker, he's looking different, and I felt so much guilt in myself. And I was like, you know, I have to get this done. For my son, I have to get this done because I can't have no more guilt on me. I know I made the mistakes, but I know I'm trying to change it before my son gets old enough to where he don't have a father.
So when you approached Mr. Freeman, how did you get back in contact with him to let him know? Because you said you had shut him out of your life.
He just came and saw him one day while I was walking. He walked up to me and he was like, so this is little man right here. And I was like, yes. And he was like, you know what? He kind of looks like me, but I didn't know if he was joking or whatever, but I was like, in a way he does.
And so, Mr. Freeman, when you saw Theseus, immediately you felt like he looked like you?
I mean, right off top, I ain't gonna lie. He didn't too much look like me because he was looking more like her. But as he was starting to grow and grow, he was starting to look like me, you know. So when he was getting older, he was just looking like me to me. That's what I think.
Mr. Cleckler, when Theseus was born, you were at the hospital.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you saw the baby when he was born, did you think, oh, he just looks like my wife? Or
Yes, Your
did you
Honor.
immediately have a doubt?
No, Your Honor. I had been teased at work by my coworkers. They would tell me that he was gonna come out with curly hair, or that's what they say to me. You know, they tease me.
So they were teasing you.
And you know, after she left, they kind of got a little bit more serious about it. And you know, my wife had told me that she hadn't messed with nobody. So I believed my wife. I mean, before I had a little doubt, and I would ask her like late at night, if you just tell me, I won't make no deal out of it. Just be honest with me. And she would cry, and she would ask me, why you talk to me like this? Why you make me feel bad? And I felt stupid. I felt real dumb. And I felt like I was hurting my wife. Because, you know, I'm asking her these questions, and what if she's really being honest with me? You know, I know what wedge I'm driving there, but I have to ask.
But your
I feel
gut was just
obligated.
telling you you needed to ask the questions.
Yes, Your Honor. And so at a certain point, I let it go. I believed it 100%. It wasn't until she left me that I didn't, you know, I found out he could be somebody else's.
So it wasn't until that time?
No, not even whenever, you know, they're cleaning him up and they're saying skin color, and I'm a nosy person. I just asked all types of questions.
I can tell. I'm just teasing. I am too, so don't feel bad.
So they said something about his color, and they said it was, I said, what's wrong with his color? They said it's off a little bit, and I asked all that stuff on his back, what is that? Because it wasn't on my other babies, and they said it was Mongolian spots, which is common in Native Americans, Mongolians, Asians, and blacks. And I said, well, you know, I wasn't thinking anything because I'm Native, she's Native.
Right.
You know, all of our family, there's at least one dark person in the family.
Absolutely.
So,
Your Honor, I have Mississippi Choctaw in my family too. And their skin is dark and they have curly hair.
So, first of all, I want to say to you, you made a joke about yourself and said you're nosy because you asked a bunch of questions, but the truth is you just being a dad in that delivery room. Because that's what fathers do. Your baby comes out, they're talking about your baby, you want to know what's going on. And coming from a person that also asks a lot of questions, I do too, that's a good thing. And don't ever stop doing that. Yes, but I can understand when you're hearing these things, your mind is processing it all. Like, well, I'm Native and she's Native and, you know, well, okay, this still matches up. So even though I got this little funny gut feeling and I got these questions in the back of my mind, this is still adding up to where I believe I'm this child's father. You're married, so you were presumed to be the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood. And so, Mr. Freeman, now one thing you said in the beginning of this case is you said you want full custody.
Yes, I would love to have full custody of him. I mean, I ain't saying I'm just trying to take him away from him. She can see him all she wants. You know, I never do that. You know, I just want to have him in my life. Well,
I'll tell you what, the only way we're all going to move forward, all of you, is to have the results. And I think we're ready. Ready?
Yes, we are.
Here you go.
Thank you. Before I read the results, I want to ask you, Mr. Cleckler, what are you hoping for today?
If he's mine, you know, I'm just gonna take care of him like I do my other kids. It's not gonna change either way how I treat the kid. It's just gonna change financial-wise. That way I can provide for my girls. I got 2 little girls that's his brother. He got another little boy that's his brother. I've been in all their lives. They know me. I'm not gonna treat any of the kids any different.
Do you want to repair your relationship with your wife?
I would love to, Your Honor, but oil and water don't mix. They just don't. They just don't mix.
Would you describe both of you as oil and water? Ms. Shomo?
I just really don't want nothing to do with him, but him be there for his girls, Your Honor. I don't want nothing to do with him at all.
Oil and water.
Just like what Mr. Freeman said, I didn't have a father in my life at all. And I want him to have his daddy. That's all I want.
Mr. Freeman, what are your hopes?
I mean, if he minds, I'm gonna do what I got to do. Take care of him, you know, raise him to be a better man, you know. Make sure he have the things I ain't have, you know. Just do what I got to do. Be a father.
All right. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Shomo v. Cleckler Freeman, pertaining to whether Mr. Cleckler or Mr. Freeman is the father of 11-month-old Theseus, it has been determined that the biological father is Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Shomo v. Cleckler, Freeman, pertaining to whether Mr. Cleckler or Mr. Freeman is the father of 11-month-old Theseus, it has been determined that the biological father is Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Congratulations, y'all.
So appreciate it. Do what I got to do.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
I'm really relieved because my son needs a father in his life.
And he deserves that.
He deserves it. He really does.
How do you feel, Mr. Freeman?
Feel good about it, you know. I'm do what I got to do, like I said. Take care of him, raise him.
And he's counting on you.
Yes, ma'am.
You all have a lot of talking and a lot of discussing to do to figure out what's best for him, because ultimately that's what this court is about. Mr. Cleckler, how are you feeling? Are you relieved? Are you glad you know the truth?
I'm a little sad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just glad everybody knows the truth.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you all know the truth. The most important thing is that Theseus has his daddy.
Yes.
And we want you to be there for him, all right?
Yes.
The court's going to provide some resources to you all to help you sort through this and process this all, but I hope you are better having found out the truth. Ms. Garcia, you claim that before your father's death, Ms. Huffman, who is 31 years younger than him and 6 years younger than you, contacted you claiming to already have one child by your dad and was pregnant with another. You have petitioned the court for a DNA test to protect your father's estate and his name by supporting what he told you, that he is not the father of the defendant's 2 daughters. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Huffman, you admit your relationship with the plaintiff's father was not a stable one, but claim you are certain he fathered your children. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Garcia, you claim your father denied paternity before he passed. Please explain.
Well, I'm basically here on behalf of my dad because he passed away about 2 years ago. He was not sure that if they were his or not because she had gotten around.
So the questions that remain have been unanswered.
Correct.
So, Ms. Huffman, it's your belief that Ms. Garcia's father did father both of your children.
Yes.
Tell me about your relationship with Ms. Garcia's father.
Well, we was just, me and my ex went to the carnival. That's when I first met Fred, which
Okay.
is the girls' dad. Me and my ex, which was my boyfriend at the time, we broke up, and that's when me and Fred had gotten to get around.
And so was it a committed relationship?
Yes.
You were.
It was on and off.
But it was on and off.
Yes.
And so when it was off, were you intimate with anybody else?
No.
So take me to the day you believe you conceived Claudia, your older child.
On March 17th of 2013.
And you all were dating, you hanging out together.
It was more like hanging out in a truck.
Hanging out in a truck.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, we're here to be honest and tell the truth. So you would hang out in his truck.
And just
And
goof around.
I'm sorry?
And goof around in the beginning, and then we got into the whole thing on how you get pregnant.
All right. At the point you found out you were pregnant, did you let Ms. Garcia's father know?
Yes, I did. And he sat there and told me that, no, that's not my child. That's whenever he got ticked off and mad at me.
So, Ms. Garcia, did you ever hear about Claudia, the baby was born? When the baby was born, did you know your father was expecting a child potentially?
No,
And you had a good relationship with your dad?
I'm very close with my dad. Yes.
And there was never a mention that there may be a child on the way and you may have a little sister?
No.
And how old was Claudia when you first heard about her, that she potentially could be your sister?
Around 2 years old.
2.
And she contacted me about it.
And what happened in that conversation?
She messaged me on Facebook and she said that she was pregnant with a child and that she had a 2-year-old daughter and that they were my dad's. And he basically said that, yes, that he was messing around with her, but he didn't believe that those were his children because she got around. He pretty much said that they weren't his.
And your father was alive at this time.
Correct.
And Claudia was 2.
Yes.
So in 2 years' time, your father had never mentioned to you once, there's a woman out here that either claims I have a child or you may have a sister. I mean, not a mention of Claudia, the child?
Well, I have 5 other brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And he's never denied them. Always came straight forward. These are my children. I've known them since they were babies. Like, never had an issue about that. But then when, she was pregnant with them, I never knew about them.
Did you even know anything about Miss Huffman?
No.
And why are you crying now?
Because it hurts, because I want my kids to sit there and be around their family, not just my part of the family. I want them to know that they can sit here and talk to their sister, be around and get that bond. I don't want them going through what I went through.
And what did you go through?
Is not having my dad around. That's what I didn't want them to have, is not their dad around.
This is the first time I've seen her emotional about anything.
Really?
Yes. I never heard her really talk about wanting to know that they have a sister, wanting the girls to know they have a sister. And anytime I've ever spoken to her, it was always, that the girls need help, that she needs help financially, and that she needed the DNA test done to prove that they were my dad so that she can get help from Social Security because he's deceased.
So there was a motive that was driven by a financial benefit.
Correct.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
When I spoke to him and asked him, why don't you think these girls are yours? And he pretty much told me that one day she was at his house and he couldn't find her, so he went looking for her, and he saw her in the backyard with the neighbor, and she was giving him oral sex.
Whoa! Miss Huffman, is that true?
No, it's not.
Did her father actually catch you with another man?
No.
He did not.
No.
So when it was off, you weren't on with anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
So in your mind, there was nobody else. No. There's no other possibility when it comes to the father of your children?
No.
Because I will say, I saw a note in my case file here, and I'll find it. It says one of my court employees had a conversation with you that led her to believe that there were other possible fathers. Jerome, can you please go see if you can escort our court employee, Miss Avery Wilkerson, into the courtroom?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have you stand right here.
Okay. Hello, Miss Wilkerson.
Hi, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for coming into the courtroom today. I have a question for you about what you uncovered as you spoke to and interviewed Ms. Huffman.
While assisting the defendant, Ms. Huffman, with setting up a DNA test for her and her daughters, she unknowingly admitted that she tested another man in the past.
What did she say?
She said that she did not remember if she brought the birth certificate with her the last time she tested a man against Claudia. Which indicated to me that she truly does not know who the biological father of Claudia is.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Ms. Huffman, is it true that you had another man tested as it relates to the paternity of Claudia?
He was testing her.
But you allowed him to do the test.
Yes, I did, just to prove that she's not his.
Was this man determined to be the biological father?
No.
Pretty much what I've heard was my dad told me that she got around with because he used to work for a carnival, and that she was messing with the other staff in the carnival, and that he didn't think that they were his because of the whole situation with the neighbor, and then her messing with the people in the carnival, and I mean.
Ms. Huffman, were you having multiple relationships with various people who worked at the carnival?
No, I didn't.
Did this other man who wanted the test work for the carnival?
No, he did not.
And so I'm just not understanding why the testimony wasn't completely honest. If you had the test and he was not the father, I mean, in many ways that lends credibility to the fact that maybe Ms. Garcia's father is Claudia's biological father. See, when you tell a half-truth, I'm always looking for the whole lie. So I want to ask you again, you are in court, you are required to tell the truth. Are you 100% certain that Ms. Garcia's father is your children's biological father, or are there other potential fathers? What is the truth?
I know for a fact he's the father. He's the only one that I messed with.
Whoever this man is that asked for the DNA test, he had to have had sex with you, because then he would know there was no possibility he could be your child's biological father. So, Ms. Garcia, has anything else happened that has furthered your doubt?
Yes. There's been a time where we were trying to cremate him, and the state of Michigan was offering to help us get him cremated for free. They were asking questions about his children. I listed her girls as my siblings.
You did?
Yes. And because when I did that, they wanted to have her sign a paper saying that it was okay for him to be cremated.
Right.
So she told me that she was not going to sign the papers.
But now you were, at this point, your father had doubt, you had doubt, but when they asked about the children, you listed her children.
Yeah, I guess it's because I'm a kind person. I want to believe that they are my sisters.
You do?
Yes.
So this is interesting. So the truth is you have doubt.
Correct.
But you do hope that they are.
Yeah.
Because it's another piece of your dad.
Yeah.
But after she refused to sign, that furthered your doubt.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you sign the papers if you know your daughters are his biological children? Why did you say no?
I said no about that because I don't have the financial money to actually spend on that. I kind of thought that it was kind of like a trick, and I said no, I'm not signing.
I was not asking her for any money. I didn't know her. I wasn't expecting her to pay anything. And when we first went to a funeral home and talked about him being buried, it was around $10,000.
All right, so, okay, that lends credibility to what she's saying. So what are your hopes today? What are your hopes, Ms. Huffman?
To get the results for my kids, to be able to financially make it with them with their health issues and not having to struggle. I'm going without to do for them. There's times where I don't even have a phone because I'm putting it in for the kids.
Ms. Garcia, what are your hopes?
I hope that they are my sisters, and I hope to tell them about my dad and what a wonderful man he was.
It's beautiful. With that said, let's go to the results. Jerome? The first result is for Claudia. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Fred Sonicson, we performed a DNA test with his surviving daughter, Carrie Garcia. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Claudia Huffman, and Carrie Garcia. The results read as follows. In the case of Garcia versus Huffman, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Claudia Huffman and Carrie Garcia is the percentage of relatedness between Claudia Huffman and Carrie Garcia is 99.9%. You are related. But we still have a second result. This result is for Emily. In the case of Garcia versus Huffman, when it comes to 2-year-old Emily Huffman, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Emily Huffman and Carrie Garcia is 99.9%. You are related. Those are your sisters. How does that feel to hear?
This is the first time I've really seen them in action. I've seen very few pictures of them, and that Emily looks like me when I was a baby. And I'm glad to know that they are my sisters. And I would love to be in their lives.
I want you in their life.
That's just wonderful. How does it feel, Ms. Huffman?
It actually feels great.
Well, this is what's so wonderful. You know, you all are, relatively young, but you have experienced already the circle of life.